Serial killers have long captured the imagination of the public, not just because of their horrific acts, but due to the mystery surrounding those who have managed to slip through the fingers of law enforcement. Below are the most infamous serial killers who remain at large, confounding detectives and terrifying communities. These killers' legends have grown over the decades, leaving us to wonder, where are they now? Number 10. The Zodiac Killer, the Cyphermaniac. The Zodiac Killer terrorized the San Francisco Bay Area in the late 1960s and early 1970s, claiming at least 5 confirmed victims, though he boasted of many more. What makes the Zodiac particularly infamous is his penchant for sending taunting letters, cryptograms, and puzzles to local newspapers, scaring the police and the public to crack his identity. Despite decades of investigation and a mountain of theories, the Zodiac's cryptic messages remain mostly unsolved, leaving his identity a mystery. Some amateur sleuths have claimed breakthroughs in decoding his letters, but as of 2024, no definitive answers have surfaced. The killer's mocking tone and bizarre ego have cemented him as one of the most chilling figures in criminal history. Number 9. The Long Island Serial Killer, burying secrets in the sand. The Long Island serial killer, also known as the Gilgo Beach Killer, has haunted the New York area since the late 1990s. The killer, whose victims were mostly young women working as escorts, left their bodies along a stretch of remote beach on Long Island. The first bodies were discovered in 2010, but police suspect the killer may have been active for decades. Despite intense media scrutiny and an ongoing investigation, the case has remained cold. In 2023, there was renewed hope when a task force was re-established to solve the mystery. But as of 2024, LISK continues to evade justice. Locals are left to wonder if the killer is still lurking in the shadows or if he has quietly disappeared. Number 8. Jack the Ripper, the Victorian Ghost. One of the most infamous unsolved serial murder cases of all time, Jack the Ripper terrorized the streets of London's Whitechapel district in 1888. His victims, primarily female sex workers, were found brutally mutilated, with their throats slit and abdominal organs removed. The case has captivated investigators, both professional and amateur, for over a century, as the Ripper's gruesome methods and taunting letters created a media frenzy. Several suspects have been proposed, ranging from local butchers to royalty, but no one has ever been definitively identified as the Ripper. With advances in DNA technology, there is always hope that this historic mystery could one day be solved. But for now, the Ripper's identity remains a ghostly enigma. Number 7. The Black Dahlia Murderer, Hollywood's darkest mystery. The 1947 murder of aspiring actress Elizabeth Short, known as the Black Dahlia, remains one of Los Angeles' most notorious cold cases. Found bisected and drained of blood in a vacant lot, Short's body was mutilated with surgical precision, leading investigators to suspect that the killer had medical training. The case drew significant media attention due to the brutal nature of the crime and Short's status as an aspiring starlet. Over 60 people confessed to the crime, but none of the confessions held up under scrutiny. The case remains one of Hollywood's most enduring mysteries, with theories ranging from a botched medical procedure to an organized crime cover-up. Despite numerous books and documentaries, the Black Dahlia case is as cold as ever. Number 6. Bible John, the killer who quoted scripture. In late 1960s Glasgow, Scotland, a killer dubbed Bible John claimed the lives of 3 women. After meeting them at the Barrowland Ballroom, the killer, known for quoting Bible verses, raped and strangled his victims. The only clue to his identity came from a witness, Jean, the sister of the final victim, who provided a detailed description of the killer. Despite a nationwide manhunt and several potential suspects, the case went cold and Bible John vanished. Speculation about the identity of Bible John continues to this day, with some believing he may have died or moved elsewhere, while others wonder if he could still be alive, his secret identity forever concealed. Number 5. The West Mesa Bone Collector, a desert graveyard. In 2009, a woman walking her dog made a horrifying discovery in the West Mesa area of Albuquerque, New Mexico, human bones protruding from the dirt. This grim find led to the discovery of 11 bodies, all women linked to the sex trade, buried in the desert. The so-called West Mesa Bone Collector has never been caught, despite years of investigation. Authorities suspect that the killer may still be at large, possibly connected to human trafficking rings. With so many missing women and the desolate landscape of the New Mexico desert, this chilling case remains unsolved, and the West Mesa bone collector's identity remains a mystery cloaked in the shifting sands. Number 4. The Phantom Killer of Texarkana, haunting a sleepy town. In 1946, the town of Texarkana was gripped with fear as a masked killer attacked couples parked in lovers' lanes. Dubbed the Phantom Killer, he murdered 5 people and injured 3 others, disappearing into the night each time before authorities could catch him. His mask, made of a burlap sack with slits for eyes, became a terrifying symbol of his anonymity and brutality. Despite an intensive investigation, including suspects who were arrested and later released, the Phantom Killer was never caught. His story later inspired the horror movie The Town That Dreaded Sundown, keeping the legend of the Phantom alive in popular culture. Number 3. The Servant Girl Annihilator, a historical nightmare. One of the earliest recorded American serial killers, the Servant Girl Annihilator, terrorized Austin, Texas in 1884 and 1885. His victims, mostly African-American domestic workers, were found brutally attacked with an axe, often while they slept. Some theorize that the Annihilator could have been Jack the Ripper himself, striking before moving to London, though this remains speculative. Despite arresting over 400 suspects, the police were never able to bring anyone to justice for the crimes. Today, the Annihilator is a historical footnote, but his case remains unsolved, a dark chapter in American crime history. Number 2. The Alphabet Killer, Letters from Death. During the early 1970s, the quiet town of Rochester, New York, was rocked by a series of brutal murders that became known as the Alphabet Murders. The victims, all young girls with first and last initials that matched, were abducted, sexually assaulted, and then brutally strangled. Despite the terror these murders caused, the killer's pattern of targeting young girls based on their initials seemed bizarre and unique, further complicating the investigation. Police interviewed several persons of interest over the years, but none of the leads panned out. One suspect, Kenneth Bianchi, a convicted serial killer from the Hillside Stranglers case, was once considered a potential match due to similarities in victim profiles, but no conclusive evidence tied him to the Alphabet Murders. The case has remained one of the most perplexing and haunting in New York's history, with no resolution in sight. Number 1. The Monster of Florence, the Italian Reaper. Between 1968 and 1985, a brutal serial killer, known as the Monster of Florence, targeted couples in the countryside around Florence, Italy. He attacked them while they sat in parked cars, then mutilated their bodies in disturbing ritualistic ways. Despite years of investigation, multiple suspects, and various theories, ranging from a lone killer to a conspiracy involving multiple individuals, the case remains unsolved. Several arrests were made, but all suspects were eventually released due to lack of conclusive evidence. As of 2024, the identity of the monster continues to baffle both Italian and international investigators, leaving one of Italy's darkest mysteries unsolved. Thanks for joining me on this creepy ride through some of the most elusive serial killers in history. If you're not already double-checking your door locks, maybe now's the time. Don't forget to like this video if you're fascinated and maybe a little terrified by true crime mysteries, and hit that subscribe button to stay updated on all the latest chilling stories. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one if you dare.